The reason behind Velcro isn't as easy to take it off and put on the charger.
I've never participated in any research here at UNI before, so this is kind of like my first experience doing actual research, which is really exciting for me.
So I think it'll be really cool just to see some of those like box formations and different things like that that are super unique to Wind Cave.
We're trying to get at the idea of student engagement, giving students real-world experience, but we're also trying to also make headway in research.
Yeah, no. I'm not fitting in.
I think I'm really excited at looking at all the new places, especially going to Zebra Rock this year and doing the crawl space. That's going to be really fun. With that squeeze box that we got, I think the practice is going to make it a lot easier. But yeah, I think we're going to be doing good.
I think that opportunities like this only come around so often, and I think that this program is really unique and a unique opportunity that Dr. Sebree has put together for multiple departments at UNI, and I think that it's going to be a really great experience for years to come.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun, so like instead of being like nervous about, oh, it's going to be dark, oh, I don't know like what to expect in the cave, everyone should just like, you know, like live that moment. It's going to be like when we look back at this, like after a few years, I think like everyone will remember it as a good time. Yep.
If you have a chance, yeah, I think you should do it for sure. I think there's a lot to gain from this, a lot of experience of what it's like outside of the lab, because in the lab it's very static, predictable, but I think working in this dynamic environment will be something different that I could not have seen had I not come on the trip.
It's really unique. We don't really get the opportunity to go do like real field work usually in chemistry. It's typically just in a lab. So this is a great opportunity, especially if you are not sure what you want to do in grad school or what you want to continue with, to kind of see what the field work aspect is like.
No other college is really doing anything like this, so it's super unique in that we get to do real life experience in the caves and stuff like that.
I think I'm looking forward to just getting the opportunity to experience this with these students and to really try to encapsulate their experience and how they're viewing all this, and trying to see it kind of through their eyes as we're filming them and documenting it.
I'm most excited for just getting all of the other science students just genuine reactions and seeing them really enjoy themselves and know that they're kind of living out their passion and getting to do something so unique and so cool. The reason that I love being a media student is I just love capturing that emotion and telling that story. So I'm really looking forward to being able to project that and allow other people to see that and learn about the experience themselves and just kind of see it from a different point of view without physically being there.
The focus of my team is on the life in the cave. It'll be interesting to see where we find it, what it might look like, and I haven't really looked at that in caves before, so I'm really excited to see how that works out.
We are at the top of the 89 stairs, and Fatima is sampling some of this black, we don't know what it is, that's on the walls. We're going to see if there's any DNA matter inside of these samples.
The biochem team split up, and I'm being the data collector, so they're giving me all of their data, and we're just kind of going around the cave and collecting interesting samples where we see some growth or maybe some water, because that's where the bacteria or maybe even fungi would be, and so because there's a lot of nutrients there. So we're just collecting samples around the cave, and then I'm recording it in my notebook and parafilming all these plates and just keeping track of everything so that we can go back when we do our data collection, we can go back and see that in our records. It was really difficult to find life in the cave, actually. One cool thing that I think we found was we found like a family of like invertebrates and they were all eating some sort of thing that was on the ground, and so that was really interesting to find, and we like got a lot of samples from there.
So we collected a lot of like water samples, and then a lot like different like
algae and then stuff like on the different media, so hopefully something will grow. The main focus was to figure out if there is any life in the cave, so we don't really know yet. I think once we start working on those plates and then water sample, then we'll figure it out.
I was really surprised, honestly, about all the rocks, which, I mean, I guess most people would say, oh, it's a cave, obviously there's going to be rocks, but I think most of us were surprised how, it was just so dry down there, I guess. There was water and everything, but as far as life that was growing, there really wasn't a lot, and that the rocks were kind of just maintaining their own environment, I guess.
I think last time when I came here, it was all about, trying to figure out fluorescence and all this stuff. So I never really thought about what if we could come back and then, do some experiment and collect samples for life. I never thought about it.
I think that it would be cool to go in the places where the tourists aren't allowed and just take lots of samples in those places, because I think a lot of the samples that we got in the cave were because of what tourists have brought into the cave.
So right now I am collecting water samples from Silent Lake because they fluoresced, and we believe there's humic and fulvic acid in these water samples because we want to track the flow of carbon throughout the cave system. So that's what we're doing, and then eventually we'll do some UV on this so we can figure out which organics are in here.
So basically what Dr. Sebree is doing, he is using the XRF, which is X-ray fluorescence, and so it shoots X-rays at basically the rock. I'll kind of simplify it down. And then, so it receives a signal back, and when you look at the data, so we have majors and minors, which looks at the different, how much of different elements are in the rock that we're looking at, basically. So it tells us the elements and the parts per million and how much is basically there.
So far, it's we're getting some good data. We have some spots for water collection, mineral fluorescence. We've got the XRF to check the elemental composition. So we're going to get some good data. Right now, I'm using the 365 wavelength light to excite the electrons in the calcite. And once we remove the light source, it phosphoresces, so we get that little afterglow.
So what we're doing right now is setting up to measure the fluorescence emission from some of the cave water we took at Silent Lake. A lot of this water is very rich in organic material that when you hit it with a UV light, you can actually get it to fluoresce and glow blue. So what we've got here is a very small portable liquid cell where we've put our water in. This is just clean water for now, just to calibrate. And we've got that hooked up to our spectrometer so that when we actually start taking our measurements, we're going to be able to record the light that's going into the cell and the light that's coming out of the cell simultaneously. And what we're looking for is the organic signature that is associated with the fulvic acid and some of the other organics that may be in this cave water.
So the group I was with, we were focusing on studying the fluorescence of the minerals down there, and also using the XRF to kind of determine what trace metals are causing that fluorescence. and kind of mapping out the cave that way.
We looked at basically when you shine a UV light on different like surfaces, they fluoresce different colors, and then using the XRF we're able to figure out like what sort of like heavy metals and all that sort of stuff is within the rock itself. So we can eventually determine what glows what color in this area, because they want to eventually do like a UV light tour in the cave so that way people can see things glowing pretty colors.
So the wild cave crawl was something I was looking forward to because last year we weren't able to go on that. I was a little nervous because I didn't have the right shoes, but fortunately Holly came through and got me a size 12, squeezed in there, was able to make it.
Yeah, I did crawling to Zebra Rock, and there gets to a point where you have to do like a 90-degree turn next to like a drop off, and so it's kind of scary because you're just like army crawling through the entire thing, but it was cool, like because they've never done research at the Zebra Rock before, and I was able to go and do the UV vis spectrum of the different, I guess, bands of fluorescent rock.
We're currently looking at a formation known as Zebra Rock, and it's only discovered here in Wind Cave, and no other cave in the world has this. And this deposit is the largest one that we have ever discovered in the cave, and we've only known about it maybe about 3 years. What exactly it is, we don't know, but that's why the students are here this week to help us figure that out.
I was like the 5th person in the world to ever see this, so that was also like, when Sebree said that, I was like, yes, this is cool, this could go down in history. But that was really cool, and like I was the first person to have like collect samples from this, and so that was just like, and I'm only like a sophomore in college, and that's just kind of like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
What is this black spot?
These are the dendrites, these things here, but then obviously the big ones are from the candle.
There's somebody from Sioux City, Iowa that came here in the 1800s.
I mean, we got to kind of joke around and like get to know each other, and like some of these people are becoming like my best friends, and like it's just a way to meet people and have fun and do some pretty amazing stuff that hasn't been done before.
It was definitely a lot of fun getting to know these people that are both in my major, and then also you guys who were outside of the science department but got to come along. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to spend my spring break doing something fun.
I thought that it was really great. I had a really great time getting to know everybody from the department. There's a lot of people that you don't really get to see very often between different classes and students in different levels, so it was really great to like come together and get to know everybody.
So, do you think you would go on this trip again if you had the chance?
I would. Yeah, I think I would. I think that I would. Yeah, I would.
Yes.
Yes, I would. I really thought it was a really neat experience to get to do research out in the wild.